Hello, welcome to a coding challenge again. In this coding challenge, I am going to build from scratch a web application that does sentiment analysis. What is sentiment analysis? So first of all, I want to mention that the actual, oops, I'm in the wrong page. The particular technique I'm going to use is a score-based system using a list of words known as the AFINN-111. So there are a lot of ways to do sentiment analysis. What I mean by sentiment analysis is here's some text, here's some information. I want to determine, is it positive, is it negative? And I want to assign it a score. Is it a high number, meaning very positive? Is it 0, meaning completely neutral? Is it a low negative number, meaning very negative? And there are different ways you can do this. There are machine learning systems that can be trained. Here's a lot of very positive essays, and here's a lot of really negative essays. Learn about them. Here's an essay. Please give it a score. There's, neural networks can do this. There's a technique known as Bayesian classification that can be trained to also be trained based on positive and negative text. And there's, I'm sure, many other techniques here, but the technique that I want to look at in this particular video is quite a simple one, and it involves a pre-made list of words that are assigned a valence, a positivity or negativity score. And so this list is a well-known list, the AFINN-111. It is the newest version with 2,477 words and phrases, and these were labeled by Finn-Arup-Nielsen in 2009-2011. So what is the AFINN-111 technique? The AFINN-111 technique involves a pre-assigned list of words. So if I were to say like happy, this has a score of 5. Each word gets a positive or negative valence score, 5 being very positive, sad, very negative, rainbow, also very positive. 5. I don't want to give rainbow the score of 4 and happy 5. That would be, and I could think of what's like, turtle. I mean, turtles are like a little bit sad. I don't know, turtles are happy. Turtle 2, right? Okay, so you get the idea. I'm not going to try to clearly I'm not qualified to make up a list of words and scores. So if you have this pre-made list of words, and these could be in any language, this is a particular list in the English language, and if you have thousands and thousands of them, then if you have a particular text with a lot of words in it, you could write a computer program to just look at each word and ask, is it in the list? If it's in the list, look up its score and add it to a running total. And at the end, you're going to get some value, like you might get 27. And that's going to be positive. This is a positive email, a positive tweet, positive essay, or you might get negative 31. And this is very, very negative. So this is what would be known as the total score, but you can also look at the comparative score, meaning, just because you have a really long document with the word happy in it a lot of times, is that more positive than a short document with the word happy in it fewer times? So the comparative score would be the total score divided by the total number of words. Okay? So this is exactly what I want to implement. So let's look back here, sorry. So the AFINN-111 is a particular list of words. It was manually labeled. This was manually made by Finn-Arup-Nielsen. You can imagine what kind of research and thought went into this. And I encourage you to read the paper. And also, if you use this list, you should also reference the paper. And everything is on this website, which is linked in this video's description. OK, so what I'm going to actually do is just download it. Oh, I've already downloaded it. I did that before it started. So where would it be? It would be in my downloads. And here it is under AFINN-111. So here, I'm going to open this up, and we can take a look at this list. So you can see this has several thousand words, and you can see abandon being -2, abandon, -2, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Compelled 1, congratulations 2, et cetera. You can see here are all the words and all of their scores. I can scroll through the whole thing. So first thing that I want to do in this challenge, I think, is it would be so much more convenient if this text file was actually a JSON file. So let's write a little quick program to convert it to JSON. I could do that in like Node or Python or something, but I'm going to somewhat absurdly just do this in the browser. So first what I want to do is I need to get this list, and I need to go to my folder that has my code, and I'm going to paste it in here. So right now I have a folder that has an HTML file. I have a libraries folder because I'm using the P5.js and the P5 DOM library. And sketch.js is where I'm going to have my JavaScript code. OK, so now what I want to do is, so here's the thing. This file, which I can load up here, this is actually, I'm almost certain, is a tab delimited file. Meaning each word, it's the format of this file is word tab score. So there's a variety of ways I could parse this. And this may not actually work, but let's test the P5.js library and see if load table works with this file. So what I'm going to do is go back to my code, and I'm going to say var table function I'm going to use preload, which is a function that I can use to make sure certain images or media or data files are loaded before the page, the sketch even begins. Load table, and then I need to give it the file name, AFINN-111.txt. And then I'm just going to say console.log table, and let's see what happens. And this is my, so that's good. Look at this. This is very promising. You can see that a table object got loaded, and it includes an array of rows with 2,477. So frankly, there's not really a huge need to turn this into JSON, because I have it in this nice table object, which makes it very easy to parse. But let's, for lookup, when I want to look up the scores, I'm going to want it as a JavaScript object. So let's see, how do we iterate over this table? So for var I equals 0, I is less than table dot get row count. Here's the thing. I don't know the table API off the top of my head. So let's go to p5js.org reference. And then what I'm going to do is look for table. And we can see load table, p5 table. So let's go to p5 table. And we can see a bunch of the functions like get row count. So this is something I certainly need that I want to iterate over all of the rows. So I can say for var I equals 0, I is less than table.getRowCount, I++. And then I can get each row probably by saying get row, I. That seems probably like it's the case. Let's say console.log row. Let's see if that works. Whoops, let me go back over here. So this looks good, like I'm getting a row object for every row in that table. And I probably can say var word equals table.get0 and var score equals table.get1. And why am I saying that? Because if this file is in a table and each line of this text file is a row, think of it as a spreadsheet, a board is in column 0, 1 is in column 1. So this is me saying, load that text file into a table, look at every single row, get every row, and then get the stuff that's in column 0 and get the stuff that's in column 1. And by the way, I could actually label the columns with headers and use that. There's lots of fancier things you can do with tables in P5N processing, but this should do. So let's say console log word score, and let's run this. Undefined, undefined, undefined. So get, I suppose, is not the actual function. Oh, and I said table, because I need to say row. Probably all of you are noticing this. I see in the chat that everyone noticed this like 5 minutes ago. So row.get, because of course what I want to do is get column 0 from that row, not from the table. Sorry about that. And then we can see, now why do I still see some undefineds? Oh, look at this. It didn't split it. It wasn't able to do it by tabs. That's so sad. Load table, so this might be a P5.js bug. Or I might just be wrong about how this table is formatted, or I might need to like give it like a file extension. Let's try that. Oh, look at that. That worked. So what I needed to do is, because it's .txt, P5 couldn't auto-detect that it was a tab delimited file. So I'm able to give it a second argument and give it an extension, tsv, to tell it that it is a tab separated file. If it were a comma separated file, meaning commas in between instead of tabs, then that's what I had before. It was getting the whole thing, and then there's no second column. OK, so that fixed that. OK, so tsv. Great. So now what I want to do is I'm going to make an object called the AFINN, and it's an empty JavaScript object. And what I want to do is I want to say, I want to put in that object the word as the key, the number as the value. Word is the key, number is the value. So I'm going to say AFINN word equals score. And then at the very end, I'm going to say console.log AFINN. And we're going to look at this. And we can see, look at that. There it is. There now is that AFINN list in a JavaScript object. Every word with a score. And I'm kind of scrolling through it just to see if anything broke, like if there was a weird like apostrophe or something that broke it, but it doesn't look like it did. And just to remind you, remember, if I have an object and I say object something.x equals 100, this is the same, my laptop's about to fall over, as saying this. So since these words are all strings, and I want those to be the keys, the properties of the objects, I need to pass them in using this bracket syntax. I can't do it like this because it's not a variable name at this point. It's coming in as a string. OK, so now that that's done, one of the lovely things about using P5 is I can just say save AFINN-111.json AFINN. And I'm saying it's with two N's, I think, right? Yeah. So now I can just save that file, save that data as a JSON file, and it should auto-download that to me in the browser. So let's run it again. Ooh, file name index of. OK, so I think maybe I'm supposed to say it the other way around. First the data, and then the file name. That seems right. There we go. And you can see my browser. I'm standing in front of it, but my browser auto-downloaded this file called AFINN-B, because I must have like put that in my code by accident. Oh, where's my code? Yeah, whoops. Two N's there, but that doesn't really matter. The point is, now I have this file, AFINN, and I can put that, whoops, I can put that here instead of the text file. So let me rename it to fix it. So what I did just is now instead of this text file, I now converted that to a JSON file. And of course, it won't. Oh, but this is I can open it right through here. And we can see there it is. So this is great, because now to do the text analysis, the sentiment analysis, it's going to be so much easier if I already have this data in a JSON file. And by the way, you could probably Google AFINN-111 JSON. Countless people all over the world and internet have done this already. But I thought it was a useful demonstration to show in P5 how to convert between one format to another. So now we're actually ready to do the sentiment analysis.